Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. My name is Big Akar Ahmed, and Salamu Alaikum. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, the self-proclaimed actor, governor of California. So this guy, he's getting up there. He's getting pretty old. I believe he was talking about running for the presidency, so I'm not sure if he was running for the presidency or if he's going to do that next time or what the case may be. I don't even know his age. I do know he's getting old. He's getting up there. He was governor of California. He's one of the biggest actors throughout the early 90s and the late 90s and early 2000s. He was a very, very, very big public figure. He is someone who is aware of politics. He's someone who is aware of business. Someone who's aware of these industries and how these industries come together, how you make contract deals and sign them, and even if people don't like each other, how you bring everything together to make an industry flourish, an industry work. He was governor of California, so he understands how to keep a state together, how to keep people together, how to take criticism, how to take things into account, and then make decisions based on that. So we're going to go ahead and see what he has to say in this interview. This is a 33-minute interview. We're only going to check out the part about Israel and Palestine, not about climate change or these other issues. Those other issues are very, very important. I don't want to get into climate change right now. We'll go into climate change much later on. If I started talking about a lot of things that I have up here, my channel will probably be deleted. So we're just going to stay on one topic at a time and focus on the most important things. Right now, people are getting buried alive. They're getting demolished in Gaza, in Palestine. And the Israeli forces are really, really, really committing a genocide over there. So we're going to go ahead and stay on this topic for now and see what Mr. Schwarzenegger has to say. Maybe he's middle ground, maybe he's not, but
if you were president now, what would you do about the Israel-Palestine question and the violence that's going on right now?
I think that what the Biden administration is doing is the right way to go. I think that we have to acknowledge that Israel was attacked viciously, unprovoked.
You're just starting off. Him saying that what the Biden administration is doing is what he would do. Garbage. Second off, Israel's attack unprovoked. That's a bit of a stretch, right? It's a real stretch. I understand. On October the 7th, there was no provoking. But there's been provoking for 70 plus years. And the Israeli army has been transgressing, pushing people out of their land, murdering people, shooting children, sniping them. I can pull up hundreds of well-documented stories of Palestinian children playing soccer, getting sniped, crossing a little line, getting sniped, throwing rocks at soldiers, getting shot, getting blown up by grenades. Disgusting stuff, bro. Disgusting stuff. And there was no Hamas attack. There was no Hamas. These things happen in the West Bank. There's no Hamas. So I'm already going to disagree with this guy right off topic, right off stance, right where he comes in. He says, I agree with Joe Biden and blah, 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 blah. And October the 7th sucked. Yes, October the 7th sucked. Go ahead and paint the picture in our head now. Go, tell us what happened on October the 7th so it sounds very detrimental. I want to hear your adjectives.
And innocent people were killed.
Okay.
And
Mutilated.
tortured and burned. But at the same time, we have to recognize that there needs to be a two-state solution.
So what happened to the Palestinian people? They weren't burned. They weren't mutilated. They weren't destroyed. They weren't kidnapped. There's not thousands of Palestinians in Israeli jails. For what? For suspicion of terrorism? They come to your house. Any Palestinian that come to your house, take you, you're a suspected terrorist, throw you in jail. That's it. You know how many people are in jail in Israel for suspected terrorism? You know how many people are dead, Palestinians dead for nothing, for playing soccer outside, for going to take their neighbor some food.
The Palestinians have a right to live. The Palestinians have a right to have their own country. and they have to learn how to live next to each other. It's that simple. And I think it is a failure of leadership on of all of the parties, including America, to not have been able to bring them together. And because of the failure of the politicians, soldiers have to die fighting in those battles because no agreement has been reached. Innocent people have to die because of that. Children have to die. I mean, it's unnecessary. All of this stuff is because of a lack of communication and the skills of negotiating, and everyone recognizing that when you negotiate.
You're right. This is all happening because of a lack of communication, and it's not a lack of communication between governmental parties. They're communicating, and they're communicating very, very well, and they know what they want, and they're doing what they want to do. The lack of communication is coming from the people of the world. The people of the world don't care. They live in this silver spoon-fed lifestyle where like everything's protected for them. They got everything, and everything's fine, everything's great. And then that person's like, what do you want me to do? I'm one person. What am I going to do from my bedroom for Palestine? How am I going to save Palestine? But there's 8 billion people on the planet, and no one understands that people actually banded together, like they actually came together and they weren't scared to come together, that the government can't hurt you. These people can't hurt you. The people that they recruit to their army are you, the civilians, the citizens. The people that pay them their money are you, the civilians. The people who vote them into power and give them power are you, the civilians. The people who work for their businesses, their industries, that keep their banks with money flooded to the brim is you, the civilian. You are in control of everything. We are all in control of everything. And when we decide to sit back and to stay controlled by the big guy who's destroying and bombing and carpet bombing and committing genocide on a whole entire creed of people, and we just sit back and we keep paying them and helping them, you know, and go, oh, poor Gaza, poor Palestinians, poor Gaza, poor Palestinians, and I post another video and I make another $1 and I go downstairs and I play some Call of Duty and I do, you know what I mean? Like, what am I doing, right? What am I actually doing? What am I doing? If there was a billion of me, I could be able to do something, right? But what am I doing? I can't do anything. That's everyone's mentality. It's sickening. This is the mentality of the world. The world's mentality needs to change. The world needs to learn how to come together. Not politicians. Screw these dirty politicians. They're all evil. They're all paid off. They're all controlled by the same people anyways. It doesn't matter.
Negotiate with people. And I've seen this as governor. You can never expect a 10. If you're lucky, you can expect a 7 or an 8 if you really stretch it, but not a 10, because the 10 for you is not a 10 for the other side. And if the other side expects a 10, it's not going to work for this side. So you got to be able to go and give and take. And this is what needs to be done. And look, they're at war now. And I think that eventually they will see that the only way that we can solve this issue is by recognizing each other, but we're talking and recognizing each other that the Palestinians have a right to live, and so does Israel.
But if you were president and you say, you know, you give everybody respect and you would talk to everyone, and the Palestinians said, well, we hear what you're saying, but this was not unprovoked. This was provoked by decades of occupation.
It is provoked by decades of occupation. It is provoked by all that. Everything I just talked about before, this guy's bringing up as a point because Arnold just decided to skip over the Palestinian suffering and then just told us about the Israeli suffering on one day, on October the 7th. I still don't understand how this day even happened with as strong as a military as the Israeli government has, and with the cameras and the technology that they have guarding their borders and watching everything. Like, if a Palestinian kid can't even get a rock through the border and he gets shot down, how in the heck did Hamas fly in on motorcycles and paraglide in and land and do all of this? And it took hours before IDF forces got to them and stopped anything or did anything. People were kidnapped and taken and held hostage in their own homes. Like, that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even add up. Like, it doesn't add up. For what Israel has the capability of doing, their technology, their multi-billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars the United States pays them every single year. for funding, it makes no sense on how this even happened to begin with. The whole situation is completely shady from the beginning. It's completely shady.
Of killing, of surveillance, of prison camp. You know, what's your answer?
Look, I mean, I'm sure that always people would have an excuse of why they have attacked or why they have gone and started the war and all this kind of stuff. I myself say that it was unprovoked to go and do that to the Israeli, to innocent people, because there was no war declared. It is one thing if you say, okay, we cannot take this any longer, we're going to declare war, we're going to fight, and then have a war. But that is not exactly what happened. And so I just think it was unprovoked, and I'm 100%.
This is the problem with declaring war, right? So Hamas is a terrorist group. Hamas doesn't represent Palestine. Hamas is not in the West Bank. So even if Hamas declared war and then committed this action, they still don't stand for the Palestinian people. So the problem is there's the Palestinian people, there's the West Bank, there's Gaza. Okay? Completely separated. Palestinian. Then you have Hamas in Gaza, militant group, who is attacking Israel, right? Israel is fighting back and destroying Palestinians, not Hamas. Palestinians, civilians, children, 50% of Gaza under the age of 18. Children, destroying them. Like, it doesn't, like, what you're saying doesn't add up either, Schwarzenegger, because for
With the Israelis in this case, but not when it comes to the solution. I think that we have to find a solution.
And in the solution,
okay, so the solution when it comes to something like this is Israel going into Gaza and blowing up civilians to try to get rid of Hamas is not going to get rid of Hamas. It's not. All it's going to do is actually make Hamas worse, because now you're turning civilians that you're bombing that weren't with Hamas, now you're making them Hamas. You're turning them into Hamas. Because if you have a problem, right, with my neighbor, right? Let's say my neighbor, his name's John, and someone comes to my house and starts beating me up, going, because your neighbor's with John, I'm beating you up, right? Because your neighbor's with John. This guy coming and he's bullying me and John now. I don't even like John. I hate John. John is an annoying neighbor. But this guy comes to me and he's bullying me because he's coming and he's bullying John too, right? What is that going to make me do? It's either going to make me A, resent John, which is probably not going to happen because John's not beating me up. Or B, it's going to make me want to help John. So now me and John have the same enemy. The same enemy is beating us up. Now that bully, that enemy who's beating us up, we're going to come together. We're going to work together to beat you up. Do you understand what I'm saying? So as much as as people think, oh, they're bombing civilians, well, civilians are Hamas. No, they're not Hamas. They're civilians. And the more you bomb them, the more they become Hamas. The more they become their own militant groups. The more they go, I don't care if my name's Hamas. I don't care if I'm a Palestinian. I don't care if I'm Chinese. I don't care if I'm Jewish. I have one common enemy, and my common enemy is the Israeli army, because they're carpet bombing me. They're killing my children. They're killing my family. They're killing my brothers, my sisters, my cousins.
solution, would you include Hamas in the solution, or would you say they are beyond the pale, they are terrorists, you know they're not part of this?
The experts have to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? The people that study this subject have to figure all that out. But you're just asking me what my opinion is about that, and that's my opinion.
Because you gave a very striking video address about anti-Semitism some months ago. I think it's gone viral again because of all this. And your own visit to
I want to check that out.
Was obviously very moving.
Well, thank you. Look, I had a father that was in a Nazi regime, and he was fighting on the Nazi side. And I felt very strongly that the next generation can show that we don't have to do exactly the same thing as the previous generation, and that we can learn from those mistakes of miscommunication.
Arnold, your father fought on the Nazi regime, and you're watching what Israel is doing, and you're still telling us, poor Israel?
How the people in Germany were lied to, and how
People of Israel are being lied to
now,
to fight in a genocide.
people are running around and trying to spread those kind of lies in America and all over the world. And the direction and the motivation of hatred has never really paid off.
All right, we're going to end it right there. No type of hatred for any race, any religion, any creed is good. No anti-anything. No anti-Islam, no anti-Semitism, no anti-anything. Secondly, anti-Semitism in specific is very dangerous because there's not a lot of Jewish people. There's a very, very small population of Jewish people. So when you are anti-Semitic, and a billion people hate Jewish people, then you have a billion people who hate 15 million Jewish people. They're outnumbered. It's very hard for them to get around and do things like this. 3, even though it might be hard to get around, they might feel a little bad about it, right? They own every single major industry. Most major industries are owned by Jewish CEOs. We're talking about your big fashion industries, your big transportation industries, your banking systems, your politicians. Everything that is really, really high up there is pretty much owned by a Jewish dude. And if it's not, they're all tied in with deals with a bunch of Jewish banks, a bunch of loans, a bunch of something, right? So anti-Semitism is serious. It's not okay to be anti-Semitic. It's not okay to be anti-Jewish, to be anti-Muslim, to be anti-Christian, to be anti-Indian, to be anti-whatever the case may be. Don't be anti-anything. Now, there is a truth to a lot of things. And looking into things, we are different. We are different human beings. We're all given different tests by God. We were put in different situations. We were given different belief systems and scenarios. So we're all going to see things differently. We're all going to come from a different place. But to the point where you literally hate another person and you wish them dead and you wish their whole creed and generation dead is insanity. It is insanity. And it is sad to see the thing about anti-Semitism and, oh my God, don't be hateful towards the Jews and this and that. And then the whole state of Israel is literally committing a straight genocide against the Palestinian people. And then no one's saying, oh, anti-Palestinian or Islam. They want to rid all of the Muslims or all of the Palestinians or all of the Christians out of Jerusalem. It's illegal to preach Jesus' name in Israel, but they'll kick you out or they'll throw you in jail if you even preach Jesus in public. If you're wearing a cross, you'll get thrown in jail. It'll get ripped off of you. They'll spit at you. They'll call you names. They'll tell you Jesus is dead. They'll say all of these different things, in Israel, but defend them. Defend their nation. Don't be anti-Semitic. No one's trying to be anti-Semitic. Anytime you speak out against the nation of Israel and its dictatorship and its oppression, you're anti-Semitic. Anytime you speak out against a big corporate CEO who's taking advantage of their employees, who's taking advantage of their clientele, who's completely just graping everything around them and destroying society, and you call them out on it, you're anti-Semitic. You hate Jewish people automatically because that guy's Jewish or that guy's Jewish or that guy's Jewish. It's just how it works. And it's very, 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 very sad that this is how the world works today, but it's how it works today. Anyways, guys, we'll leave it off here. Arnold Schwartz kind of played middle ground there. He played more towards the Israeli side because the way he painted a narrative, he gave adjectives and words to describe the suffering of the Israelis, but he gave no detail of suffering for the Palestinians, even though the Palestinians suffer 8 times more than Israelis. Right now, if we went to Israel, me and you could fly into Israel. We can go into any major city right now. We can go hang out at a nightclub, go to a restaurant, go walking down the street. If we went to Gaza right now, there's no way in the world you're going to any nightclubs. You're not eating any food, let alone at a restaurant. You're going to be eating freaking raisins that have been open. You're going to be sharing a bag of raisins with a child and on a freaking broken down rubble outside. You're not going to have a shower. You're not going to have water. You're not going to have resources. If you get hurt, if you get sick, you're not going to have a hospital. You're not going to have anything. So if you want to compare the living standards right now between Gaza and Israel, it's not even a 1-to-1 comparison, not even close. Go to Israel, you're living a good life. You're living right now in Israel, during an active war. I can go to major cities and I could live better than half of Africa. I can go out and I can do things and I can see things and I can hang out and I can spend money better than I can in half of Africa or half of the places that are actually oppressed. It's actually so sad how these politicians, these big public speakers, they leave it out. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you think he's gonna describe the Palestinian suffering? Yeah, he might take a middle ground so he doesn't get canceled on both sides. But no matter what, this guy has to stand for these Jewish people because they pay him, they own him, they own his industries, they give him his paychecks. They're the ones he's paying them his loans back. You know what I mean? So that's just how it works. Anyways, guys, God bless you today. Thank you for coming in. I kind of rambled on a bunch. Arnold Schwarzenegger here. Thank you so much for the content, Mr. Arnold. Thank you for speaking. Thank you for giving us your opinion. If you guys want to check out the full interview, link is down below. It is a 33-minute interview with Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger with Channel 4 News. And yeah, God bless. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe, comment your thoughts down below. And free Palestine. There is a freaking genocide going on, and you guys need to pay attention to what's happening. I know that I'm not a big YouTuber. I know that I don't get a big view count. I know that a lot of people aren't going to see my videos. I know they're not monetized. I don't get paid. I don't got sponsors coming towards me. But I promise you to God, I will continue to talk, and I'll continue to speak, and I'll continue to teach people truth and to give my viewpoint, right? Because a lot of people speak from their butt. And I try to speak from a place of information, from fact, from logical evidence. Like when I say something, I'm gonna be able to go grab something and show you why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm not just gonna say something and not be able to back it up. So anyways, guys, God bless you all. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, peace out and free Palestine.